Hi YouTube, in this video I'm going to be making a cute little creature from the movie Evolution. If you haven't seen it, it's a really cool movie. I always think it's got a very similar feel to it to the Ghostbusters movies. So I really love it, and there's loads of really cool creatures in it. So I just started off just with some kitchen foil. I just made this very basic shape. He's got these kind of weird legs that stick out the back, and these two kind of stocky legs at the front. He's kind of a bit bulldog-like in his kind of form. In fact, in the movie at one point, an old lady sort of says, "I didn't realise you had a dog." And I mean, it looks nothing like a dog in the movie because it's green apart from anything, but it's quite a funny part of the movie. Okay, so then I've just used milliput to go over, and I've just started doing the main kind of folds and things in the face. You can see I've left a couple of gaps for where the eyes are going to go, but mainly it's just, yeah, a lot of folds around his mouth area, quite a few wrinkles. This milliput that I'm using, if you haven't used it before, it's a two-part putty. You mix the two parts together in equal amounts and then it starts to set rock hard in about 4 hours. Okay, it was shortly after this point that I made a mistake. So I'll just show you these images on my laptop. This is the first image and you can see he's got blue eyes, and that's just a model, it's not one from the actual movie. Then when I look at this image, this is from the movie, and you can see he's very clearly got brown eyes for some reason in this image. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go with the brown eyes because that's what he's got in the movie. And then this one at the bottom, by the way, this is just an image of one that somebody else has made, but I thought it was quite cute. So those are the main three images that I'm working from. So at that point, I thought, okay, I'm going to give him brown eyes. So this is what I started doing. I've got these glass cabochons, and I just painted a black dot in the middle of two of these for the pupils, and then I painted brown around the edge of it. And that gave me these nice brown eyes that I was really pleased with. And then I even started adding milliput around for the sort of eyelids and things. And luckily, I decided to watch the movie Evolution again as I was making this. And when it got to that scene, I actually realised that he's got actually pretty bright blue eyes. So typically, I had to take these off and start again and give him blue eyes. Very frustrating, but I'm glad I noticed it then and not when I'd completely finished the whole model. So this is how he turned out with his blue eyes, and I'm really glad I did it. I mean, he looks much better with bright blue eyes. You can see I've started adding a lot more kind of wrinkles and things to his back and around the top edges of his front legs. Lots more wrinkles. You can kind of press through into these with, if you get like a sheet of plastic, a bit like cling film, that sort of thing, put it over the top of the milliput and then press into it, you get much better kind of wrinkle textures. You can see that I'm resting him on a milliput box for this part of the video just to show you what milliput looks like. If you haven't tried any before, it really is really good stuff to work with. I love it just because it's set so rock hard that it means that you're not going to break any of your models afterwards. But also I love it because you don't have to put it in the oven. It just sets completely at room temperature. Okay, here you can see him with a lot more detail added. Loads more wrinkles added to all the legs. I've also made little dents in his feet and I've added claws. You can see I've just kind of shaped those and kind of made them flat on the bottoms of each claw. And that works really quite well, I think. It'll look much better painted, but even at this stage I'm really liking how he's looking. Loads more wrinkles, again just pressing through plastic bags to get those wrinkle textures. These will all show up a lot more when it's painted, like all the dark paint will sink down into all these little creases and all the wrinkles will just kind of show up a lot more. But yeah, really pleased with how he's looking, and he's quite cute. I think I've captured the cuteness, which is one of the main things that I wanted to get with this particular model. Right, for the first painting stage, I just wanted to do a mix of yellow ochre, white, and a tiny bit of cadmium yellow. And just to make this cream colour, that's to go around his eyes, all of his kind of chest and his tummy area, and yeah, just his sort of his underside really. And this looks really nice. I think it's starting to kind of work and giving this overall sort of two-tone effect. There are a couple of stripes up the side of his head as well. And right down the front, like where his nose and his mouth is. And yeah, really pleased with how this is looking. Next I wanted a much more vivid green than the green of the milliput, which is a very sort of greyish green. So this one I've mixed a little bit of cadmium yellow and a bit of cobalt blue and a little bit of white again to brighten it up. And yeah, I think this is a really nice base colour for the green, but I've got to then add a lot of darker greens into it. You can see at all the joins where it meets the cream colour, I've watered down this particular green and just done very kind of light washes of it just to kind of blend it in at the edges. That makes such a difference, and I mean I really like how it's looking at the moment, even before any of the darker greens are added. Right, the darker greens I've added as a wash, and this is something that I've been doing a lot more recently rather than dry brushing quite so much. I tend to do more in the way of washes. So I've just made my original green that I had already, I just added some black to it basically to get it as a much darker green, and then loads of water to turn it into a wash, and just ran it all over the whole model basically, and it's sunk down into all of those little grooves, and it's made all the wrinkles really kind of show up, and it's kind of like doing the opposite of dry brushing with light colours. It just makes all the real dark colours sink down into all those little gaps. Right, in the movie there's a scene where he suddenly opens his mouth and this little creature comes out, this thing. That's basically his tongue, but it's like a sort of an extra creature, and that's called a tongue snapper. So I would like to make that at some point separately. Okay, if you look here, you can see I've painted his claws. So I've done those, started off with black, just as a base colour. Then I mixed a really dark brown colour, just using the green that I had and a tiny bit of red to make a brown. And then I've gone in with a much lighter brown, so it added a bit more yellow ochre to it. And then a bit of extra with some white as well. And that means I could blend all that down into all of his claws, and they look nice and kind of realistic now. Okay, I hope you all approve of how he's turned out. I'm really pleased with him, and I think he's going to look good in amongst all my other movie creatures and things that I've made. I do plan to make some of the other creatures from the Evolution movie, because there are some real good ones. This one just happened to be my favourite. I do like the idea of making the little tongue snapper creature for this guy as well. So hit subscribe if you want to see anything that I make in the future. Thanks to Milliput for sponsoring this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.